Yo, what's up, guys? It's the MMA analyst here to give you my recap for UFC on Fox 2. Yeah, I was out of town, so, unable to get on this until today. But, first things first, why are they messing up so much? The UFC. You've got a card on Fox. Fox is a place where a lot of people who don't give a damn about the UFC will exist. And a place where you can get a lot of new fans. Obviously, you want to try and recreate that Stephan Bonner, Forrest Griffin moment. You want that to happen as many times as you can so that all these new folks that are just kind of flipping by the station go, oh, wow, that was crazy. What the hell is that? Or, man, I can't stand this UFC stuff, but this looks interesting. So it's very strange to me that your main event was going to be Rashad Evans versus Phil Davis. Rashad Evans, a wrestler with some striking. Phil Davis, no striking at all, and a wrestler. Then you were going to have Chael Sonnen, a wrestler, versus Mark Munoz, a wrestler with some brawling. And then Damian Maia, a grappler, versus Michael Bisping, somebody without knockout power that is, going to be stuffing a lot of takedowns or trying to avoid grappling for the entire fight. They're definitely not, the kind of fights that you would expect to have a lot of fireworks. Something happens, Mark Munoz is out, Bisping versus Chael Sonnen, a wrestler versus a British fighter. And then you have Damian Maia versus a wrestler on 10 days notice. I mean, damn, what are you guys thinking? The UFC's made a lot of good decisions, and they've been killing it, doing what they got to do to make the UFC brand what it is today, to make UFC synonymous with MMA. People look at UFC the way they look at a tissue paper. They say, grab me a Kleenex, and then you grab them a non-brand. Kleenex is a brand, folks, and the UFC is a brand, and people just see the UFC as what the sport is. Yo, man, do you do UFC? People buy UFC shirts. Have you ever seen an NBA jersey on somebody without a jersey, without a name, just NBA? That's retarded, right? So people go out there and they buy UFC stuff. I support UFC type stuff. It's the only place this happens. I don't see people walking around with an NFL jersey, but no name, nothing. Not even a team jersey. Not a team. Just NFL. Anyways, so they got a chance to hit so many more people up, and they put together, 5 grapplers and Michael Bisping with no kind of fireworks in his game at all. Kind of, that's suspect to me. That seems like a little questionable. I mean, if you take a look at it, Evan Dunham, a wrestler, versus Nick Lentz, an Uber wrestler, got fight of the night. It must have been a boring card for that. Let's talk about the actual fight, though. Rashad Evans versus Phil Davis. I mean, look, real talk. I mean, obviously, everything that Rashad Evans does, in the end, people are going to kind of put it up and then under the light and scrutinize it and say, is that going to be enough to beat John Bones Jones? The fact that he couldn't finish Phil Davis in 5 rounds, that was a little bit, uh-oh. The fact that he could control Phil Davis for 5 rounds. Well, Phil Davis is a wrestler, and he was able to take care of his wrestling, I would say, with ease. So that's good. He didn't gas, so that's good. But I always said Phil Davis is not what people were saying he was in the first place, which is a top 10, a contender, could be for the belt. I don't think that he is that. Maybe he will be one day when he becomes a little more comfortable on his feet or aggressive on the ground or gets a killer instinct or whatever, but he's not that guy. He's basically, in my mind, hype-wise, the black Ryan Bader. He just hasn't had his Ryan Bader ass whooping. I mean, this was a little bit of a beatdown, but, you know, he hasn't been flatlined or Tito Ortiz upsetted. Anyways, Rashad beat him. It was pretty simple. And how is he going to do against John Bones Jones? Well, I mean, obviously John Bones Jones isn't Phil Davis, and he poses a lot more of a threat everywhere, I think. But Rashad obviously wants to get John Jones on his back. And we'll see if he does that. If he does that, then it's going to be a good fight or an interesting fight. If Rashad Evans and John Jones goes to the 4th round, it's going to be interesting. Because we know Rashad can go all 5. Can John Bones Jones go all 5 without gassing out and whatnot? With, you know, if he's on his back, you know, obviously it's different than beating people down on your feet when it comes to, you know, how much energy you're exerting and whatnot. So that's I mean, right now Rashad Evans is a 6-1 underdog. So that's you might want to just go do something right now, real quick, with some extra money, because I don't know if he's gonna win, but you know what I'm saying. Anyways, oh yeah, by the way, overall I went 6-4. Somebody made a comment like, "Yo, man, your picks aren't even good, man. I lost money on your picks." Well, you lost money on my regular prediction picks. I'm not telling you who to bet on. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fights, and I would not bet on 6 of these. If you want to bet on, you know, Joey Beltran and LeVar Johnson or Damian Maia and Chris Weidman, go ahead. Because I specifically said don't do that in my betting videos. Or, you know, I mean, so I had 3 diamond picks. I had Rashad as a diamond pick. This is the highest rated. I'm positive they're going to win type of a thing. Chael Sonnen, diamond pick. And also Charles Oliveira, diamond pick. And then I had a platinum pick, which is the second highest, you know, confidence. Evan Dunham over Nick Lentz. So those were my solid, you know, like my diamond picks are above 80 to 83%. And my platinum picks are right around, I don't know, like 78%. And then my gold picks, you know, the kind of scary ones, they're around 66%. So, I mean, it is what it is. If you want to go bet on whatever old, terrible fight to bet on, go ahead. I specifically said put a parlay on Rashad Evans, Chael Sonnen, and Evan Dunham. You've done all right. That's a pretty simple situation there. Anyways, Chael Sonnen versus Michael Bisping. I don't think it was a robbery in any sense. Y'all know how much I do not like Chael Sonnen. Based on what happens in today's MMA and the way they judge MMA bouts in America, Chael Sonnen won the first round. It was not entertaining by any stretch of the imagination. I think he got a couple takedowns. A lot of leaning on the fence. A little strikes here and there. But I think he won round 1. Clearly lost round 2. And clearly won round 3. I was just surprised that Bisping got around. I was surprised at everything Bisping did, to be honest. You also know how much I am not a fan of Michael Bisping. He did impress me in the fact that, you know, how well he did. I thought he was going to get taken down, punched in the face. You know, Chael Sonnen doesn't really finish people with the ground and pound, so I just figured he'd get taken down, punched up a lot, and that would just happen for 15 minutes. And at the end of the day, Michael Bisping would have a little bloody face. Chael Sonnen would be all, you know, looking like, I don't know, just like a little frazzled or whatever you want to call it, and then they go home. But no, I mean, Michael Bisping put up a serious fight. Mad respect to him. Yeah, really. I mean, in this fight, I earned a lot of respect for Michael Bisping, and yeah, you know, Chael Sonnen is gonna fight Anderson Silva whenever Anderson Silva comes back. I mean, real talk. I mean, he better look like the first fight against Anderson Silva and not this fight here, because, man, that was it's kind of like Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. If Anderson Silva was ducking Chael Sonnen for any reason, he sees this fight and he's like, all right, let's go, May 5th. And then, you know, the only difference is Chael Sonnen, a.k.a. Manny Pacquiao, isn't running away looking to try and fight Brian Stann again. Anyways, good win, I guess. Yeah, it was supposed to happen, but it was a tough win, tougher than I thought. Respect to Michael Bisping. So there you go. Chris Weidman versus Damian Maia, whack. I mean, really, all these fights were pretty whack overall, but that was what was gonna happen. That's how it was set up. There was no surprise, but I was actually kind of surprised at how I don't know, Chris Weidman gassed. I wasn't surprised at that. It's kind of why I did go with Damian Maia, because it's 10 days notice. So I thought that he would gas, and I thought Damian Maia would be able to capitalize. But Maia didn't look good either. Maia hasn't looked good in a while. He needs to make some improvements in his game, so that he doesn't take losses to Mark Munoz and Chris Weidman. Simple as that. Amazing jiu-jitsu, but he's unable to actually do anything with it because he can't get the fight to the ground against certain wrestlers. His striking is okay, but not enough to scare anybody. So he's got to do some things. Chris Weidman, congrats. He stepped up 10 days notice. The UFC is not gonna forget that. He's undefeated 8-0. What you don't want to do, though, is end up in a top 5 or 6 or 7 matchup right now against somebody who's not a jiu-jitsu player. You also don't want to go out there against somebody like Rusumir Polaris or something like that, or a really strong striker with some grappling, because you'll get stomped on for that. So both these guys got to step their game up. At least one guy got the win in Chris Weidman. Evan Dunham versus Nick Lentz. Yo, props to Nick Lentz, man. He was spending his whole career just lying on people. I don't mean telling fibs. I mean literally laying on people. Just Tyson Griffin, Andre Winner, Rob Everson, just laying on them. And, he went out there, Charles Oliveira. I think Charles Oliveira, or actually, no, he had the Waylon Lowe fight, which actually was, he showed kind of the ability to fight in that fight. Mark Bocek, he said, I'm pissed. I don't like people laying on me. I said, wow, that he's lying. Obviously, he doesn't like people laying on people, but he doesn't have anything against land prey. And then he comes out against Evan Dunham and throws down. Mad props to Nick Lentz. I mean, does this mean you're going to get a main card fight now? Who knows? I mean, you lost 2 fights in a row since changing up your game plan of being a blanket, which is obviously the catch-22. If you go out there and you're lazy as, or not lazy, sorry. If you're boring as hell and you keep winning, well, then they keep you on the undercard. If you change that up and you're exciting, well, you got a $60,000 fight of the $65,000 fight of the night bonus. Nice. And then now you're worried about getting cut in your next fight, and they could put you up against a beast and pretty much give you your 3rd loss in a row. And then you're back to wherever else you were before. So that's a tough situation that we have in MMA. It is what it is. Mike Russell, good win over John-Olav Inamo. Cub Swanson, oh, wow. Good job. I mean, I've never been comfortable picking George Roop. I think this was the only time I picked him. And I thought if Cub Swanson was going to win, it would be like a submission. But, yeah. He submitted his face, and then they gave away. I think you can buy his George Roop's mouthpiece online. I think it's broke in the middle, though. Charles Oliveira with the calf slicer. I was surprised that Joe Rogan didn't know what a calf slicer was. That was very surprising, because he was like, oh, he's got huge amounts of pressure. And I'm like, when are you going to say it, Joe? Because I don't think we've seen this in the UFC. This is a calf slicer, Joe. And, yeah, he never once said it. I think he didn't know what a calf slicer was. Some people call it a calf crusher. It does both. It both slices and crushes, and it hurts. It's never happened to me because, you could only get submitted by a calf slicer if you practice leg locks. And where I used to train, you don't really do leg locks because leg locks are illegal from competitions until black belt, I think, anyways. It's just because it's so dangerous. You don't want to go, you're not getting paid for this. So you go blue belt, purple belt, somebody Rusimer Polaris your leg, and then you're limping and in a wheelchair. Come on now, that's not fair. I just wanted to compete. I can't even walk now. Anyways, very nice submission by Charles Oliveira. Yeah, it's basically all pain. Nothing's gonna break. It just crushes your calf, and there's pressure on your knee, but your knee's not gonna break out or any of that. It's just painful. Joey Beltran, LeVar Johnson. LeVar Johnson, Strikeforce is 1-0 right now, with the Strikeforce heavyweights coming over. Obviously, Joey Beltran is not even top 20, but LeVar Johnson would beat him down pretty easily. He wasn't even brawling. He was using lots of jabs. I love the jab in MMA. I like it in boxing too, but I like it in MMA because people just don't use it. And even if it's a sloppy jab, just a good stiff jab, whatever, I just like seeing the jabs in MMA as long as people aren't getting countered over the top with hooks or something because they're sloppy ones. But LeVar Johnson did his thing. Like I said, Strikeforce is 1-0. And I have a feeling they're going to have a little more success as well. Oh, wait, sorry. Strikeforce is 2-0. My bad. Obviously, homeboy. You know what I'm talking about. Alistair Overeem. So Strikeforce is now 2-0. Remember the league of MMA rejects that couldn't go to the UFC because they weren't good enough? Yeah, that little crew right there is now 2-0 for the heavyweights. Obviously, for the welterweights, you got that bum Nick Diaz, who was supposed to not be able to do anything in the UFC because he's not good enough. Obviously, I didn't think that. He's smashed BJ Penn, and we're about to see what happens this weekend. Basically, folks, if there's anything that we can learn from this, it's that it's not about the organizations, it's about the fighters. And WEC, how are the WEC lightweights going to be able to do in the UFC? I think even I might have been a little hesitant to believe that a lot of them could have done well, but they've done well as well. So just really think about this, folks. You know, it's about the fighters, not the banner that they fight under. Anyways, there you go. UFC 143. My predictions will be coming up shortly. I just basically have to do them. I'll probably get them done today, which is Monday, January the 30th. At the latest, they'll be out on Tuesday, February 1st. MMA is important. Peace.